Hello, my name is Dylan Rosenthal, and this is Photoshop for Ensemble Library Interns and Others, Episode 5. Today we're going to be talking about automation and putting it all together. Now, when talking about automation in Photoshop, I want to be clear on what I mean by that. Automation is when you program your function keys to do certain actions that would normally require multiple steps to complete. For example, when I demonstrated how to create a background in a previous episode, that required multiple shortcuts in a row to create a desired effect. Automation gives you the ability to assign all of those actions into one key to complete the action. Any action that requires multiple steps or takes a long time to do can be automated to one key. So I'm going to be demonstrating how to do that, a couple other common automation sequences that I like to use, and how to batch automate documents. And in my opinion, this final step allows Photoshop to become a much more powerful tool than if you are trying to use Photoshop without automation. And I hope that becomes clear by the end of the episode. So let's go over to Photoshop. And we're going to start by opening a multi-page document. So let's go over here, and we're going to open this flute part. Okay? As you can see, there's multiple files. We're going to open all of them. Alrighty. So it's usually not going to open like that. It's going to open like this. So when we want to think about assigning actions or setting up our hotkeys, the first thing we want to do is we're going to go over to this little tiny arrow over here, and we're going to open this window. And there's going to be 3 tabs here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a folder, or in this case, I've already created a folder for today. And we're going to start creating actions. And the way that you create an action is by going over here and adding plus. So we're at plus here. And the first action I'm going to want to create is making a background for one page. So we're going to call this action background. And we're going to assign it the function key Shift F4. Okay. Now, after I hit record, Photoshop is going to track all of the actions that I do until I hit stop. So if you make sure that you hit stop by the end, or else your action's going to have a lot of extra steps in it. All right. So here we go. I'm going to hit record, and now I'm going to go through the steps I talked about before to make a background. So we're going to create a new layer. We're going to move to the back. We're going to hit Shift F5, and we're going to lock it. And the last step, I'm going to select the top layer. And now we stop. Okay. So now, let's get rid of this. Now when I go and hit Shift F4, I get a background on this layer with only one button. Because you can assign this just any button. You don't have to have Shift F4. You could just have F1, F2, F3, whatever. Doesn't matter. So that's huge. I just took 4 steps and I turned it into 1. But as you can see, it only did it for one page. It didn't do it for all of them. So now the next step is going to be creating another action. And I'm going to call this batch background. Okay, and I'm going to assign it the hotkey Shift Command F4. Okay. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to get rid of this background. Okay, let's try this again. Background batch. And Shift F4. Good. Okay, so now to create what I want to do next, which is going to be add a background to every single one of these open files, I'm going to do the following. Hit record, go over to File, go to Automate, Batch, and we're going to select the set of the folder of the actions we're going to be selecting from, which is going to be episode 5 for today. We're going to select background, which is the first or the previous action we want to apply to all of the open files. And then we're going to hit open files. So that means that anything that's currently open in Photoshop, this batch script will apply to all of them. Okay. So now we hit OK. And now I'm going to hit stop recording, because now every single page has a background. So I've taken an action that would take several clicks for every page, and I have automated it to one button. So you will save, you can imagine if you're editing an entire set of parts, it will save you an immeasurable amount of time doing that. And you can automate whatever you want. You could automate batch despeckling or batch dust and scratches if you do that a lot. You could automate batch selecting color range. Like that's another big one too that a lot of people like to do. You could batch whatever you want. You could batch crop. That would be a little bit more difficult, but not impossible to do. But the batch tool allows you to apply one action to all open files. It is an extremely powerful tool. And one more batch I want to show you before I sign off for today is going to be related to saving, because I think this is probably my favorite shortcut. So we're going to open this again. We're going to create a new action. So whenever you do this sort of batch action, you got to create the action first before you can batch it. So I'm going to call this flatten and save. I'm going to give it the function key command F4, command F5. So now, after hit record, I'm going to right click, flatten image. You can choose not to do this part, but I'm going to make this into a bitmap to save space. And now I'm going to hit Command Shift S, so save as. I already did this today apparently, so I'm going to do it again. Save. You wouldn't see this because you wouldn't have already saved it. Replace it. Okay. And now, as you can see, there is a file here. Let me delete this and show you that this does in fact work. Okay, so let's unlock this. Or sorry, I have to go to grayscale and unlock this. Okay, so now I go here. I hit Command F5.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks.
Oh, I forgot about this part. This function key F5 sometimes does this. Hold on, I'm sorry. I have to reassign because apparently Command F5 is that. Okay. Now, after I change that, it's here. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to go to episode 5, add, and we're going to call this batch, flatten, and save. And we're going to give this F6, Command Shift F6. All right, well, before I do this, I have to put this back, sorry. Okay. Save. 6. Shift. Okay. So now we're going to record this. We are going to go to File, Automate, Batch, Episode 5 Actions, Flatten and Save, Open Files, and we're going to hit OK. And now we're going to stop the action. And as you can see, every single file has been saved as a TIFF in this folder. And for me, that's a very useful tool, because now when I go to combine all these files, they're right here. And I can just open this with Acrobat and create and create my PDF just from here. So it takes a second when you do it this way, but you'll see in a second that basically you can open files in Photoshop and then put them back in Acrobat with one click and then combining them. It makes Photoshop much more useful and a lot more intuitive to use, and allows you to use it in a more powerful way. And once again, you can choose to automate and batch whatever series of actions you may or may not desire to use. Oh, sorry, you can see that, okay. And also, you can do it to every single file if you so wish. Okay? Great. So, that's automation. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope this has been helpful in some way. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.